What's going on, guys? Coming at you live today with a very special guest, Stevan Savic, client of ours that has achieved some epic results in a very short period of time. As we kick things off here, I'm going to wait just a little bit to make sure that everyone that wants to join is able to join and attend the live today. So we're going to wait just about 1 to 2 minutes here before we officially dive into things.
Hey, everybody.
So for those of you that are joining now, if you could, in order for us to be able to see your comments on this end here, if you could just go to chat.restream.io/Facebook, just like you would with StreamYard, you can go log in there, be able to put in your name, and then we can see your comments. Those that don't do that, I'll do my best to keep my phone pulled up. That way I can pull up the live stream itself and not miss out on any comments. What's up, Daisy? Good to see you on. Here, Drag, Andre, thanks for stopping by, guys. Wait just a little bit longer here and we'll get right into it. All right. So we got 5 of you guys on here now. Christy, thanks for joining us. Good to see you on here. We will kick things off with that. So diving into things today we're going to be focused on sharing with you all how Stevan went from beginning stages to generating his first 11.5K in less than 50 days of joining our coaching program. During this live interview, we're going to touch on a few components, including the ACC Authentic Attraction Method that allowed Stevan to ultimately authentically attract his ideal clients and allowed him to eliminate cold outreach, which I know many of you have seen how did he generate 11.5K in 50 days without sending a single cold DM. Many of you might say that is not the case, but Stevan can solely back that up and let you know that it is 100% the case. And by implementing what we're going to talk about today, that's what allowed him to make that happen. Next up, we're going to be going over the unleashed systems and processes that allowed him to scale his results without scaling his workload, ultimately achieving more with less. And then getting into a little bit on the pilot dynamic conversion system that allowed him to confidently and predictably land more sales in less time. Outside of that, we're going to be going over much, much more, starting with Stevan's journey, even before we met and crossed paths online, leading into the success that he's been able to achieve lately. So at this stage, I want to give a very warm welcome to Stevan Savic and let him kind of do a brief introduction, sharing with us what it looked like for him before we met and kind of what led to that point itself.
I'm reading comments. Thanks for that intro. Hey, everybody. So I can start with where I got into the whole space and found out about high ticket and everything, right? So first I joined One Funnel Away, as I suppose many guys here maybe, and I know you did. And I found out about these funnels and stuff. I fell in love with that, especially Russell and Steve. And I spent like a month, so that was in March. And when I started the journey, I spent like a month making funnels pretty, like no traffic to it at all, just changing the color and the buttons, copy, whatever, right? But I thought that's the way. Then I heard about high ticket affiliate marketing, and that was with Legendary. And I joined them next month, like end of April. I jumped into their blueprints, and I think we also have lots of LM fam here. I know I have in my friends list. And I did some TikToks with that, trying to drive traffic to my like a landing page. And then I found out about Facebook. And at first, to be honest, I was a little bit like, really, Facebook? That like you're doing marketing here? I wasn't really interested in that. And then I found out about these guys that are doing like content in order to generate leads, getting people reaching out to you, inbound leads, and so on. And I was attracted to that. And so I joined Drug, and that was May. So March, One Funnel Away, April, Legendary, May, Meta, Drug's program. And then I felt like, so I went for like a month and a half, and then that's when we started talking. I reached out to you actually, as far as I remember. I felt like that if someone could hold me by the hand, if and give me the clarity what exactly to do, like I'm gonna do that 100%. And I actually sent you some messages like that.
Yeah, you did.
That
That's kind of what I want to get into a little bit next too, because I think we met honestly off of an interview. I think I was doing an interview in another group, and my story resonated with you. You were sharing with me, and Messenger actually pulled up the conversation. You were mentioning just exactly what you just said, how you were doing Amazon FBA, drop shipping, Shopify stores, and doing print on demand, which really was a lot that what I did early on without getting traction early on. So I think that was some common ground that we were able to relate to early on as well. Kind of going into that though, we were chatting at the time, and the few words that you told me, and to kind of share and be transparent with everybody watching the live as well. You said at that point you sold Legendary and you had a meta sale, so you had two high ticket sales under your belt, and you felt that things were off to a good start. But like you said, you told me you lacked clarity on what to do, exactly what to do, exactly when to do it, and exactly how to do it. And you said the words to me, "I'm like a terrier. Once I get something, I'm 1,000% committed." So I knew at that point, if I could give Stevan the clarity that he needed, he was ready to go in, take massive action, and make some really big things happen. And I wanted to pass the floor to Stevan now and let him talk a little bit about his mindset behind that statement of "I'm like a terrier."
Well, I like competition. I like setting goals, always going for the next level. And in that actually particular case, I wanted to stay home, to be honest. We just had a baby, and I didn't want to go back to my cubicle, and I was ready to do whatever it takes. And if someone can show me, just tell me what to do, right? Like on daily basis, exact steps, I will do it. And basically, like you said, the interview, yeah, I saw you in one interview, and that resonated with me and what you were doing and your whole story and how you exploded in this space, right? And the strategies you were using were attracted to me. And because I was kind of honing in the content part and getting people, I never liked the idea of just doing cold outreach, meaning, of course, just to put a disclaimer, and Blake always says, when you're just starting out, you need to be proactive, right? You need to put yourself out there, reach out to people, definitely, but not, then working on your craft, right? And working on your content to get to the next level. You're always staying surface level conversations and hitting new people and burning the list that you have, whatever friends list you have. With every message where you're trying to dive into whatever problems they're having, you're actually burning those leads. If it's just
Exactly.
off of right?
Yeah, really good point with that. I think something that's important to touch on early on, as well as many of you guys see this, the result that Steven was able to generate without any cold DMs. That doesn't mean that I'm telling you to go out and not send any more cold DMs going forward. What you want to do is have awareness around where you're at within your business right now, what stage you're in overall. And if you're in that beginning stages where you're just starting to grow that audience, you're just working to get things off the ground, the thing that you need most is opportunities. And the easiest way to go out and create opportunities, if you're not seeing it coming off your content, is through cold outreach. But as you continually work to refine that content skill, know what types of posts to put out, know what brings you the lead flow that you're looking for, then you can start to step back, eliminate that cold outreach, and step into what Stevan has done recently. So kind of going in, even from that point, I think just wanted to highlight the aspect of the fact of what Stevan told me about being a terrier, because I think this relates a lot to what I talk about even on lives here in this group around the importance behind entering into any investment that you make, ready to take 150% advantage of that investment itself, ready to go all in, and knowing that you have belief in the process and belief in yourself when you do it. And I see a lot of people that sometimes maybe are a little bit hesitant to join that next thing. And when they go and make that decision, in the back of their mind, they're still hesitant towards it. So they're saying, should I really have spent this money, or should I really have made this investment? I know it will help me, but I don't know if it was the right thing for me to do. And that indecision in the back of their mind alone leads to much less purposeful action and much less results. But I think when you can go into it with a full head of steam, knowing that you made the right choice and you're ready to take advantage of it, you can do things like Stevan just did. So kind of getting into things from there, following that messenger conversation, Stevan officially got started with us on July 23rd is when he joined our coaching program. As we kind of mentioned at this point, you had earned roughly 2,000 at that point. You had a friends list of roughly 800 people, which we were chatting on in Messenger as well. You had no Facebook group, and you had never offered a call before or had any sales calls.
Nope.
And I think looking at those numbers, asking you those numbers in Messenger when we were chatting, seeing where you were at, I knew obviously if you had that clarity, that would be a massive shift in the right direction for you to make those results happen. But the biggest thing that we needed to do was set the target and align the focus towards that target based on where he was at. So at this point, looking at where Stevan was at, I knew that if he had a friends list of almost 1,000 people, he had been showing up consistently for his audience for the last couple of months. He did a great job of building up engagement on his profile and building strong awareness with the audience itself. Now I knew that once we started together, to put him in a position to win, we needed to shift the focus towards the most important elements that would lead to those wins itself. And that's starting to capitalize on that audience that he built, bring in some warm leads from the people that actually trust him, and start to get offers out to those people and move them into a sales process. So at this point, Stevan, if you want to kind of take the floor and talk a little bit about once you joined our program on July 21st, kind of what made you make that decision? What made you say, yes, Blake, I'm ready to jump in? And what was your first objective going into the program itself?
Well, objective would be, I think, and for most people, the investment itself, right? Especially when you invested, there are a lot of people that invested in the programs and didn't get any results. And then it kind of, there are three types of objections, right? The vehicle, is this going to work for me? Does this really work? The internal objection, can I make this work? And the external ones, time, money, and so on. In most cases here, I think it's a combination of those two. Internal, like, am I going to be able to do this to make it work? And money as external one. Yeah. That's what I see in most cases in my conversations in Messenger, on the calls. And I just felt that there is, based on what you told me, on, like, you just recapped where I was, like 800 friends, but then having huge engagement, huge percentage of those people were engaging with my content, even reaching out to me, but I didn't have a system in place, to move that forward.
Yeah,
that was the case.
So you were at the point, but even before joining, you were feeling pretty somewhat confident with content, knowing that you were at least getting strong engagement, which Absolutely. A lot of times early on, internally for you, you probably felt like things are going really strong. I'm getting really good engagement, but where would you say the main block was for you in terms of clarity?
Well, how to get them, how to entice them more with how to create lead magnets, how to entice them more with some direct lead gen content. Then once I do that, how to drive those conversations, right? And I think most people struggle with that. You want to say, most of the time, you want to say too much at once.
Yep.
And confused mind never buys, right? And then once you got them in Messenger and you're having warm conversations, what to do from there? So what I was doing, I was sending them to a free funnel because my mentor was doing the closing pretty good for me, right? Yep. But I wasn't stacking skills. I wasn't getting to the next level, right? I was staying in the same place. Yep. And working on that one skill. I didn't have the control of the cart. I send people and maybe they buy, maybe they don't, and I wait. And I'm sure many relate to that. And I wanted to get to that level where I'm in control and to add those next skills.
Yep. So you knew from the start you were capable of it. You knew that you were on the right track to doing it. You knew you wanted to hit 5K a month. You just didn't know how to make that sales process and messaging process basically predictable in order for you to confidently make that happen consistently.
Especially, and that's a good word, predictable. Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. So at that point, you joined into the program on the 21st. Again, you had no Facebook
July.
group. You had a friends list of around 800 to 1,000 friends. And to recap again, you had never had conducted any call at this point. Never offered a call.
Never offered a call. Didn't know what to do on the call. Never offered one.
So going into that first week, we knew that the focus was to start to monetize the engagement that you had and start to monetize the audience that you've taken some time to build up and build the trust with those people. So when you dove into the coaching calls the first week and the training the first week, what was the kind of the first thing that you focused on when diving in?
So first of all, when I joined, that was like end of the week. So I had the first coaching call with you next week after.
The following Tuesday.
I joined, yeah. So I joined on 21st of July, but I had like end of July or something, the first call with you. And thanks for that. Someone has the latest software on my profile was fire. Thank you for dropping that. Appreciate it. So yeah, so that first call happened. I had a sales call, coaching call with Mike, and basically you guys told me like go to this section. So I'm not. We mentioned this before. There are people that like to get into a program and like take time and watch the whole program and maybe then go again and rewatch and write things down. What I like to do, I like to like give me that one thing I can go and implement now imperfectly. And then I'll get to the next thing. So the first thing we did was put a direct lead gen post following the foundation I had with value and belief shifting posts. And we put that one like immediately, right after those first coaching calls I had.
Yep.
I generated like around 30 really good quality leads. And I booked, I think, like 8 calls or something. Like that was the first week.
Came in the first week, you knew that you wanted to maximize the audience that you built up. So you went straight to the content training, implemented one of the frameworks that we shared on a short form lead gen post. You got 30 warm leads coming in. And of those 30 warm leads, you went out and booked your first 8 calls by implementing the script that we shared next. And I think before we even talking on this more, one thing to really highlight, and this kind of all circles back to the Terrier comment early on and how he went into this program. He went into the training, like he said, not going into it saying, I'm going to go start from the top to bottom and then take action afterwards. He went into it saying, based on what Blake told me, based on where I'm at, this is what I need. This is what I'm going to go and learn first. And I'm going to start with just this content. I'm going to watch this training. I'm going to implement it. And that's what he did. He put out that post. Then after he put out that post and saw traction, then he went back and went to the next training and started watching how to actually move the conversation.
Yeah. The messenger conversation script.
Exactly. So when you started to implement the script that we gave you within that first week, how did things feel with the flow of the conversation and what was it able to do for you?
Oh, a game changer. Like just driving people, like the flow of the conversation was like just, moving so easily. It's so smooth to where you want them to go, right? And I literally just followed the blueprint, to be honest. I made it my own. Like I tweaked some stuff, and imperfectly. Some things didn't work, but some did. And booked the calls, went back to the training, watched the video on the strategy calls, then went and did those calls, and like literally step by step.
You watched, implemented on the 3 most important elements of where you're at, which was lead gen, messaging, and then sales.
Yeah.
And at that point, a week and a half in, you landed, was it 2 high ticket sales in your first 10 days? I think it was.
Yeah.
Massive.
And 2 weeks in, first coaching offer, first coaching client.
And the awesome thing is, to me and for everybody else watching as well, like it wasn't like Stevan had a friends list of 2,000 people. It wasn't like he had a Facebook group of 500 people as well. He had a friends list of 800 people, which it may seem low, but at the same time, that's a really strong foundation, especially with him showing up just for the last 2 months alone with content. Even if it wasn't super strategic, he was still consistent. He still took the time to provide value to his audience, and he had people within his audience that trusted him. He just needed to start going out and putting out the right angles to grab those people's attention and move into an easier conversation. Awesome. So that's what led to 2 high ticket sales in the first 10 days itself. And at this point, the thing that I also appreciate a lot about you with going into the program early on is not only did you just kind of focus on the main trainings that were most beneficial to where you were at, but you didn't miss a coaching call. Like you literally attended every coaching call for the first month because you went out, you took that action right away, and then you came back to these calls and you asked questions on the action that you took.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was on every call for like month and a half for sure, something like that. And if I did skip later some calls, it wasn't because I didn't show up. It was because family matters.
100%. I'm pulling up some notes back here too, just kind of circling back to the conversation as well. I think you mentioned to me you wanted to hit 5K. And what after that first week, you said, based on the clarity I've gotten in this first week and the results that I've gotten, I can't wait to see where I'm at 2 months from now. And it's humbling for me to see that and see that the fact that you started at those beginning stages and now here you are at 5K months, you made your first 10K in 50 days and you're on a clear path to getting to 10K really soon. For you, kind of what did it feel like to start to see that come to life based on where you're at when you started to where you were even just a week to 2 weeks into the program?
Well, it was amazing. And I think I sent you a message that I implemented like maybe 10% of the program. And I hit that 5K. I think I sent you a message like that.
You did. Yep.
Yeah. And I remember you messaging me back like, dude, do you remember you sent me, what's your goal to hit 5K? And then 30 days later, hit 5K.
Yep. It's amazing. What in that first month, what would you say was your biggest breakthrough aha moment just in speaking to me, speaking to members of my team and joining the program itself?
Well, definitely how to actually drive those conversations. Once you get warm leads, how to get them to raise hand on some really good, compelling lead magnets. Then how to drive the conversations forward. And then how to book a call, what to do on the call, right? Yep. Like the exact process.
Did it feel when you, like with you integrating calls for the first time and having those first calls, I know a big fear for many is just like, am I going to say the wrong things? Am I going to say the right things? And just not knowing how to handle the call itself. When you had those initial calls, did you feel like you were robotic and had to stick to a perfect script? How did you feel implementing what we taught in the program with those initial calls?
No, not at all. But once I had the clarity of what to do, how to book a call, why am I doing this specific call? What is the call, right? Then on the call, like, what do I need to get from the person to see where they are at, what they want? Can I help them? Are they a good fit? But for real, not getting them on the call just to pitch them, right? But actually conducting a strategy call, which is what you teach. And I didn't feel robotic, and I didn't have fear because I wasn't going into to just pitch someone and hope they're gonna, buy. Because I think that's the biggest fear people have. It's because of that. But when you have the clarity on what to do, in order to actually see if you can help them and how, right? And kind of like what you said, coaching starts on the call. Yep. Long before they join. That's what you're doing on that call. You are starting the coaching process. And once you do that, it feels much easier, simpler. It's just human interaction.
Yeah, I think you made a really strong point for everybody watching as well. And that's the fact of when you have clarity on the process and you know exactly what to do to get to the results and the outputs that you want, you no longer have to feel dependent on a certain scenario. So Stevan doesn't have to go into his second call and say, oh, I need to make this sale happen if I want to hit this first goal of 1K in my first couple of weeks. He knew that he needed to put in reps to get to where he wanted to go, but he also knew that the reps that he was putting in were strategic and they were the right reps. So he knew that even if he didn't make that sale, there would be another sale coming right around the corner. And I think that was a huge leading indicator for you in terms of the results you were able to generate.
Exactly. And that's why I said before when you said predictable, because I have right now people in my pipeline and you're moving those conversations and moving those relationships. And it's basically moving the ball in that know, like, and trust factor. And with each touch point, you're just moving them forward. And it's just a matter of time. And kind of you start kind of getting sense of that, when you can expect actually for them to jump in when they're ready, when they, and not being like having one lead. Like my first sale was like that. I can circle back to that. I just called DM, like this was first couple of weeks when I jumped into Facebook organic. I called out, like I just went to groups, added a ton of people, and like opened the members and just hit add button, and then just reached out to everybody, like glad to connect and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I did have some conversations where people actually answered the questions and started talking about where they are and maybe felt a bit more open, but most of them ended up ghosting me or, like, hey man, I'm not interested or whatever, right? And
Yep.
because you're staying surface level with them. And I did land one, but I know it was pure luck. It just happened to be. I was there just to collect the money. I always said that I felt like that the guy was pre-sold by someone else already.
Yep. I think that's something that a lot of people like can really take a lot from itself. And I think just even kind of what we talked about before in the interview in your group of staying surface level. And I think many people right now that are frustrated with the results they're getting in the organic space is because maybe the content isn't working in a way that they want it to. So they're trying to hedge it with cold outreach, which is great, but they're not developing their content along the way of doing that. So they're basically just going one-sided and solely relying on this cold outreach. And they're adding new friends, reaching out to new friends every single day. That's part of their daily DMO. And they're always staying surface level with these people because those people do not know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you yet. And it's very hard to take them from first connection to sales opportunity right on that first go.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think like for those of you watching here and kind of seeing Steven's journey, to provide some value on what he's done over these last 50 days, for me, it's awesome to see just like him sitting here in front of me now, the way he's able to talk about the process, the clarity that he has in such a short period of time. It's awesome to see and just hear him talk about that as a whole, because it just shows what can happen when you take focused action itself. And for those of you watching, not getting the results that you want in your business right now, take a step back and say, okay, just like we did with Steven, what's the target that you want to hit? Where's the bottleneck at within the process right now? If you can't identify that, chat with us or chat with somebody else and get some help to identify that if you need it. But try to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, well, what am I doing within my inputs right now? And what do I need to start implementing to make this process more efficient? And that's exactly what we did with Steven. We looked at the foundation he built. We looked at the engagement that he had. We looked at the friends list that he had. And we looked at what he was doing within his day-to-day operation. And at the time, his inputs were reliant on him being proactive and sending cold DMs and not seeing the results that he wanted. So in order to make that switch and put Steven in a position to hit his first 5K month, the best thing that we could do is capitalize on the audience that he's built and the trust that he already has within that audience itself.
So I kind of started switching to, because I never liked the cold DM thing. Like I kind of started switching to just waiting for people to reach out to me, but that was the problem. And the second sale, high ticket sale, was from someone who actually dropped. I had a soft call to action, and they, dropped a comment, reached out to them, and that was the second one. So the content was there when it comes to value, belief shifting, and all of that in place. But yeah, having that predictable system and having a full pipeline, knowing when can you put out a compelling lead magnet, how many leads approximately can you get, and not holding on to one person. That most of the time that what happens in cold DM, because that one I sold, right? I was like holding on to him with my life,
praying
because
that he
was
jumps
the
out.
only one really giving me descriptive answers about where he is and where he was at that moment and so on. So having full pipeline of people you can talk to who are reaching out to you, having warm conversations like immediately in Messenger, not losing time wasting on how's the pandemic your way or whatever it is, and then slowly moving them, on that, I say, on that know, like, and trust, on that touch point list, because it takes on average like 8 to 12 touch points to make a sale, meaningful touch points, not you dropped a comment on their post, they drop a comment on your post, right? But serious conversations or calls. And if you think like that, and that's like, I saw that Grant Cardone was talking about that. So if you think like that, that's what you're doing. You're just moving them along. And eventually you start having, like I said, the sense of like, when's the next person going to, hop on your offer? You can just feel, where they are based on the conversations you're having or the calls you had, or, and not holding on to everybody like.
Because you essentially have now built a predictable funnel in place behind it, where it's constantly moving them towards that next step to where you want to get to.
Exactly.
Whereas with cold outreach, you're skipping past the funnel and you're going from first entry point to all the way to the end and trying to make something happen when there needs to be some layers between that in order to make that opportunity actually come to life.
Exactly. Yeah.
A few other notes I want to pull up here and talk a little bit further. I think one thing I wanted to ask as well, like after you made those first couple of sales, you were building momentum, you were feeling really clear on the process as a whole, implementing the call frameworks and the scripts. What do you think led to you to taking those first initial sales to 10K in the 50 days itself?
Well, just doubling down on what I was doing, it became kind of like fun. I'm not saying it's always difficult and challenges and like that's normal, right? But not only having challenges. If you wake up in the morning and you're thinking how you need to call DM 30 people and try to get through those conversations about weather and pandemic and whatever into sales, that I feel like that's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
So, but having people reaching out, having warm conversation, it just becomes fun. It can really be fun. And you're really being just, yourself and talking to them and seeing where they are at. But there is no like and trust there. They want to talk to you. They want what you have. They want to see what's the offer, right? And interesting point about that, I actually last month sold 5 different offers. So it doesn't work for one single right thing.
Yep. 100%. That's a really good share as well. And I think like overall, like big picture for you is once you got the clarity on that process, you rinsed and repeated until you continue to refine things. You started to get really clear on what angles you need to take within your content, what was working and what wasn't. You continued to show up to the calls, ask questions, where we supported you in refining that process. And that's ultimately what led you to getting to that mark, because you took what was working and continued to rinse and repeat it until you got to that goal itself. And I think a big driver for you as well, at least something that stands out to me, is like you talked about with having clarity on how to create predictability within your lead flow, knowing you're going to get X amount of leads coming in without having to do tedious inputs like cold outreach and things like that. I think that allowed you to really have confidence in the process and know that, like we talked about earlier, the opportunity that you have in front of you with the person that you're speaking to doesn't need to be a sale. And you do a great job at making sure that you're not putting out an offer to someone that's not a fit for that offer itself. And you're not one-sided with that offer either.
100%. Yeah. And many people, I don't know, I shared it in my stories to show, because I think many people wouldn't even believe that, like how you're not pitching whatever you have, right? And that's why I also sold 5 offers, different offers in 1 month. And that was my 3rd month doing this, because I was sending them what was a good fit for them.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes, like I just shared with you today, I had a 15-minute strategy call with a guy that doesn't need any of the things I have. And in the moment, based on what he told me, he just got into a program and he didn't even start watching the modules, videos. And I just told him what I would do if I was him. How would I approach that? How would I, go about it? And he messaged me last night about one of the things I'm promoting, that he wants to jump on that right now. And he just told me, send me the payment link.
And that's the power of being just genuine, authentic within your sales process, because there's no hard selling. There's no fluff between the lines. You're being you. You're showing that you're being honest with that person and telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And that creates new levels of trust and ultimately leads to more sales.
Absolutely. And I shared that in the other interview we did in my group. I also had the 15-minute strategy call with a guy where we just mapped out to see if it would be a good fit, what he's doing at the moment and all that, right? And kind of gave him some value. And we booked a 30-minute call to go over, dive deeper into things. And he messaged me before that 30-minute call that we don't need to do it, that he actually just bought the program. And I was like, what? So what he told me is that he was on 5 different calls, 5 different affiliates, different offers in this space. And that all of them just pitched him the offer on the call. And that I was the only one who actually did the strategy call. And he told me, we don't need to do, maybe he's watching this, we don't need to do a 30-minute call like I'm in, man. Like, I can see you want to help me.
That's the power of authentic attraction. And I think like this is one element of predictability within your business that people don't see. And once you're able to have confidence and clarity within the process of your business, and you know that what you're doing is leading to the outcomes and outputs that you want, you have predictable lead flow. Now Stevan is able to step up and be more impact driven with his offers. He doesn't have to put out an offer to everyone because he knows that he's going to have enough leads to put out just the right amount of offers that he needs to people that actually can benefit from the offer, not just shoving the offer down everyone's throat that he speaks to. And that only leads to not only more income and more impact for him, but it leads to his clients also achieving better results as well, and him putting out offers to more relevant people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think in the long run, and that's what I want to do, that's my goal, I think it works better.
100%. And I think like that's something that a lot of people overlook in this space as well. Like if you're not in this for the long game, if you're not thinking with the long term in mind, you'll fail in the short term.
Yeah.
The reason people buy from you online, the reason anybody here would even consider purchasing our program or purchasing anything from me is because first, I have to earn your trust. And if I don't have that trust, I don't want you to buy anything from me because you don't know how I can actually benefit you and you are buying into something blindly. And that's why we're sharing this story now. That's why I put out content consistently. That's why Stevan has done what he's been able to do, is because he focused first on building that trust first because he knew that his business was built on that foundation.
Absolutely. And I had people where I didn't even want to jump on a call with, that they wanted something that's maybe one of the offers I have, maybe for people who have a bigger audience, it would work much better. And they would message me about it and I could sell them. They were sold on it, the offer. They thought it's great to jump on that. I would tell them honest advice. Like, I don't think it's for you. You don't have a group. You have, I don't know how many friends. I would check their profile and I would tell them, listen, that's, so maybe I didn't have a sale, but I have trust with that person. Later on, they will ask me for the advice. I had that too. I had people message me, listen, you're the only one that didn't pitch me. Can you tell me, what do you think about this? Some other offer,
100%, man. And I think that's why you're a perfect example of what it means to be an Unleashed CEO, because you're super growth driven. You're super impact driven. You're not one-sided where you just care about income and you're only looking out for yourself. You care about both parties like any smart businessman would. And you let your talking be done through the action that you take. And that's the reason you've gotten to where you are.
And just now, before the price bump in SAA, I had a person that asked me about it and asked me about one of the offers I promote. But they're at the beginning of their journey. And I told them, listen, to be honest, it's better for you to jump on that before they bump the price and learn the fundamentals, sales and marketing and, and the conversation. But we are still, there's way more trust now between us than it was at that point.
Reminds me a lot of myself early on last year within the affiliate space. I think at this point in the interview, I know Stevan has to head out soon for something with his family. So as we kind of wrap up here as well, one more question for Stevan, and I want any questions that you guys have as well. We'll open up the floor to take a few of those. But for those watching live right now, let me know in the comments, drop a hashtag live below so we know. And Stevan, kind of talking about your journey over these last 50 days, to kind of recap, I'm curious to you, what attracted you to choose me and my team over everybody else in the marketplace?
Well, I heard about your results in the number one. Then I watched that interview, heard your backstory, resonated really with me. Um, and then just the idea, because I jumped into the space with the program, with the person that's teaching how to get inbound leads, how to create attractive, how to build trust and create attractive content. And then I felt like if I'm going to get a coach, that was a perfect scenario for me. I don't want to get someone, and I had conversations with people that they hire a coach that tells them basically what the program told them. Like, get up, go there, add 50 people, call them at least 30, try to start conversations, and you're staying at the same level. And that's what I saw that you actually would help me, get to the next level, honing in they're building even more trust, right?
Yep. It aligned
with providing
with
more that. Yeah, it aligned.
Totally. It aligned with your values. That's a really good point. And kind of like hearing the fact that you're actually having fun now really stands out to me. And I think it's something that a lot of people overlook within this process, is just having fun with what they're doing. But over these last 50 days, looking back at after making that decision to invest into our team and join the program and get our support, how do you feel looking back at it now?
Amazing. Glad I did it.
Yeah. What levels of fun were you having before joining versus where you're at now?
Well, I wasn't really having fun because I hit like 2 high ticket sales, and I was, I had huge goals, and I didn't know how to conduct a call. I didn't know how to offer a call. I didn't know how to present an offer. I didn't know, I was missing all that part. And sorry, I'm using your ask to create some questions. So yeah, no, I lost track of thought. I was thinking about the question. I don't know what I was saying.
You're good. We can jump into questions now too as well, and then we'll kind of wrap things up from there. So Daisy asked, what is the best advice on using the assets to create offers like the one that you had just made? And we briefly talked on this actually before the interview. So kind of talk through a little bit to them on why you chose to select those assets.
So the thing is that most people, what I see in the space, I always say this, I feel like they get up in the morning and they feel like I need some money, I want to make a sale, and they put out a post just making an offer. In most cases, it's like a soft call to action, drop #me or whatever. It's a long form RVL formula, and drop whatever, value or whatever, right? And I'll reach out to you. Or in some cases, they don't even say that. They say, DM me if you are interested in something like this. And those are the most offers you see there. There was no marketing, is about creating noise and then riding that wave. And so I think if you don't create noise and interest about something you have before you put that offer, like it's gonna, hard, I don't think it can really work the way you want it to, right?
Yep.
And creating noise about also those assets builds them up, the perceived value, there's interest there, and it works much better. So I think that's a huge part what most people miss. And then, like using their Facebook like a sales page. And I did that few times in the beginning stages, where they put a post where they literally list every module in the program and maybe even the price and stuff, and like drop this or hashtag whatever, right, or reach out to me. But you made a sales letter. This social media, no one's on Facebook in order like to buy, even if you're a high ticket affiliate. It's social media platform, right? And you have huge opportunity to build that trust because of that you can't on a funnel, on a landing page. Much harder. They land there, they know you're going to sell them. So instead of building that trust, you are actually using it just like a sales page, and putting out offer after offer, and literally like just a sales letter, just, listing what you get and like, here, buy. And I feel like, sorry.
No, you go ahead, man. Finish what you're saying. Just want to
I feel
interject.
that people, get up in the morning and just think, I need to make money today. And also sharing whatever, your mentors' pictures and stuff like that. Like, what's there in it for me as a customer? What do I benefit from that? How can you help me? Like, why would I buy from you, right? If 50 of you shared the same photo, like,
I think one thing to think about too with this is like even going early on before those 50 days, when like you put out this offer post recently, it performed really well. You made $1,000 in an hour. Did you ever put out like one of those posts early on before we like started working together, for example? I think to me what I'm seeing here is the confidence that you've been able to develop through the clarity that you've been able to create within the process with what you've learned has led to you taking and testing new angles within your content, going out and showing things in different ways than what you would before because you have that confidence.
Absolutely, yeah. And being clear on that, having strategies that you use to get that to, create interest, to create that noise about, like someone said that my offer was fire, and thanks for saying that. Like, I expected that sold out, and maybe that sounds whatever arrogant or something. It's not. It's just having predictability in your marketing, knowing what people want, knowing who wants what, and then just bundling that and making an offer.
And I think
because there was interest. Sorry.
That's a big point, I think, to share with Daisy too, because you told me this before we even had this interview, and then this all comes back to what we teach within increasing lead flow within your business and testing new angles. The reason you formulated that offer post that you put out yesterday and you included the components that you did is because you looked back at what you've done over these last 2 months, just like you told me, and you looked and said, based on what I put out, what was validated and proven, and what did people not like as much?
Absolutely.
And you based it around that rather than just trying to guess and say, oh, let's give everybody everything. You went and let your audience tell you what was the best thing to put in.
Absolutely. And the spots I sold out, they were like, I really made it limited because I really want to over deliver with those people. So I put out 5, but there was way more interest. I got so many DMs, people wanting to jump on. So now I know that there are people out there that are ready to jump on the, next thing.
All right.
But yeah, having interest.
For those that want it. So we're keeping on track. I want to make sure we're not making Stevan late for watching his kid. Any questions?
So I think people should rethink how they use Facebook and use it to build that know, like, and trust, use it to give value. And once you have that, you also get feedback from those people. Did they like what you put out? Was it helpful? And not just putting a sales letter and having all your affiliate friends from the same program. And I don't want to sound mean, but I mean, just talking real talk, having them come and say, that's a great offer, man. Right.
Yep. Validation.
Yeah. Validating first, priming them, creating interest, and then just delivering on that, what was there already.
Looks like no other questions coming in, so we can wrap things up here. I guess kind of at this point, now that we've shared the journey, hopefully each and every one of you got value and some clarity on this live itself. So if you did get value, let us know in the comments, drop a hashtag value below and let us know. And as we close out here, Stevan, for you, if anybody in this group, let's say they were at the position that you were in early on and they've been considering working with me and my team for the last couple of months or just recently, what words would you have to say to them?
I would say reach out to me. Drop a hashtag and we can have a chat and see if they're a good fit and if it would be helpful where they are in their journey. As they can see now from this live, no one's here to try to short sell you on something. So, and Blake's not going to take anybody anyhow, right? You're really selective about the people. Yep. So you want in and you want to work with. So I wouldn't be on the fence. If you need clarity, if you want to have the whole process in place, right? And have fun, be yourself, like enjoy the journey. and stack those skills while you're at it and while you're making money. To me, that all this that I'm sold, I want to buy again.
And I encourage you guys continue to watch Stevan and his journey, because this is, like I said, I normally don't bring someone in for an interview within 50 days of the coaching, but with what he's been able to achieve, implementing what he learned, I felt I wanted to come in here and share with you guys, talk a little bit about how he got to this point, but continue to keep an eye on his growth going forward, because this is the start of just many massive things to come. And this just shows the power of having clarity within the process and knowing how to create predictability within the process, because now he knows how to get to 10K, how to get to 15K, how to get to 20K and beyond.
Thanks a lot for that, brother.
Thanks for being here, man. And thanks for the action that you took since the moment you joined this program. That's the reason, ultimately, you're here we are today, and I'm super proud of you for that.
Thanks, man. Really.
So as we close out, for those of you looking, maybe you just want strategies on the messaging and lead gen process that Stevan implemented to make the results happen. You don't need the support and coaching. If that's you, comment post to close below. If you feel like you need some higher level support, you want some help getting this process in place and getting pure clarity on it, and really having someone hold your hand as you implement this process itself and make it work for you, comment unleash below and let us know in the comments. And again, like Steven's mentioned, like the entire theme of this live itself is, we're here to provide solutions to people that actually can benefit from those solutions. So if you comment below, by commenting, we're not here to sell you on anything. We're here to simply see exactly where you're at, what you need to get to where you want to go, and get you on a clear path to getting you there.
Absolutely. And I would add one more thing. I think this is what you want to go with into 2022. This is what's working now, right? Because that, what you go and you just message someone randomly, that maybe worked a year ago or whatever, when this was a blue ocean. There's like 50 different offers in the space. There's, I don't know how many 5-day challenges that you are competing with, right? So everyone's getting those same offers. So I think if you want to go into the next year, finish this year strong, go into the next year with what's working now and not what worked a year or 2 years ago, I think this is the program.
Appreciate that, man. I really appreciate you sharing that. Again, thanks for all those that joined us today on the live and participated in this interview and training. I hope each of you got value from it. And we will close out on this note, wrapping up this interview with client Stevan, talking about his journey and going from virtually scratch to his first 11K in only 50 days. So again, massive congrats to Stevan, and thanks for being here, man. It's great to have you on.
Thanks a lot. Great to be here. And thanks everybody for watching, joining us live.
Thanks again, guys. We'll see you on the next one. I hope you all have a great rest of your night.